Hey, how's it going everybody? This video is going to be showing you a green-black budget commander deck. It's going to cost around $45. We're going to use the commander Chevel, Bane of Monsters. It's a 2-mana creature with Death Touch, and at the beginning of each of our upkeep, we're going to put a bounty counter on a creature planeswalker an opponent controls, and whenever a creature planeswalker dies, if it had a counter on it, we're going to gain 3 life and draw a card. So in this deck, we're going to want to have lots of removal to get rid of those counters so we can gain some advantage. We're also going to create an overwhelming board with Death Touch creatures, and we use a lot of fighting cards that help ping our opponents with these creatures. Just a word of note too, if we target our creature that has Death Touch and we target our opponent's monster, that monster will automatically die because the Death Touch does apply. Moving on to some larger creatures. Hornet Queen's quite high on the mana curve for 7 mana. However, it's flying Death Touch, and when it enters the battlefield, we're going to create 4 other 1/1 insects with flying and Death Touch. Whenever another non-token creature dies, we're going to create a 1/1 rat token with Ogre Slumlord, and rats we control have Death Touch. Harvester of Souls also has Death Touch, and whenever another non-token creature dies, we're going to draw a card. Both Vampire Nighthawk and Nighthawk Scavenger are some good flying Death Touch and lifelink creatures. If Hooded Blightfang is on the field, whenever a creature we control with Death Touch attacks, our opponent's going to lose 1 life and we're going to gain 1 life. This does proc for each creature, and this creature also gives our other creatures Death Touch 2 planeswalkers, which is pretty unique. Ambush Viper is a nice surprise for our opponent. Whenever Okame deals damage to a player, we're going to be able to draw a card. It also does have a benefit of costing less if our opponent controls a green permanent, and if a creature already died this turn, Bone Picker could be casted for 1 mana. Whenever a creature we control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player is going to get 2 poison counters if we have Fangbearer on the field, and if a player has 10 or more poison counters, they're just going to lose the game. This is like an alternative win condition. Vraska also gives us an alternative win condition. Her ultimate's going to make 1/1 black assassin creature tokens, and if they deal combat damage to a player, they just lose the game. Her plus ability makes it so whenever a creature deals combat damage to this card, we're going to destroy that creature, and her -3 ability is going to destroy target non-land permanent. Vraska the Relic Seeker is going to help us create some 2/2 tokens. Her minus ability also lets us destroy artifacts, creatures, and enchantments, and create treasure tokens. And her -10 makes it so target player's life becomes 1. Vraska's Swarm Menace makes it so whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, we're going to put a +1 counter on that creature. We could also minus her to create 1/1 assassin creature tokens that also have Death Touch, and whenever this creature deals damage to a planeswalker, we destroy that planeswalker. Bite Down and Infectious Bite are pretty much the same card. We can target one of our own creatures and it deals damage to its power to other target creature or planeswalker we don't control. And as a reminder, if we target one of our own creatures with Death Touch, it will immediately destroy that creature because the Death Touch is triggered. Prey Pun, Primal Might, and Prize Fight are all similar too. We can make one of our own creatures fight one of our opponent's creatures. Again, the Death Touch does apply here. On Walden Tracker, continuously can make us so we can fight target creatures, and Reclamation Sage is going to help us deal with some other artifacts or enchantments. Acidic Slime is another way to deal with artifacts, enchantments, or lands. When Noxious Gearhole enters the battlefield, we're going to destroy another target creature, and we also get to gain some life. And the Chupacabra is similar. Whenever it enters the battlefield, we get to destroy another target creature. And again, all these cards are pretty good because when they enter the battlefield, they're going to be able to destroy other creatures. And if we have bounty counters on them from our commander, we're going to be able to gain some life and draw additional cards. Cast Down, Feed the Swarm, and Go for the Throat are all just good removal spells that are quite cheap. Same thing with Tragic Slip, Cut Down, and Bone Shards, just some more removal. And because we don't have enough removal, Doomblade and Hero's Downfall are additional removal spells. I don't know how to pronounce that card, but the Edict also gives us some other options to make our opponent sacrifice some things. Beast Within is an all-around removal spell, destroying anything, however they get to create a 3/3 token. And Death Sprout allows us to gain some additional tempo advantage by destroying a creature and getting us a land on the battlefield. Return to Nature destroys artifacts, enchantments, and can exile a card from a graveyard. Putrefy destroys artifacts and creatures, and Casualties of War can destroy something of everything. Unearth can return a cheap creature back from the graveyard. Eternal Witness and Regrowth can get us a card back from the graveyard to our hand. Read the Bones helps us draw some cards. Diabolic Tutor can help us search for any card in our deck. And Glissa Sunslayer is great for 3 mana. It's a 3/3 first strike Death Touch. And whenever it does combat damage to a player, we either get to draw a card, lose a life, destroy an enchantment, or remove some counters. Most of the time, we're just going to be drawing additional cards. Tamio Safekeeping can help us protect any one of our permanents. And Infuse with Vitality gives a creature Death Touch, and whenever it dies, we get to return it back to the battlefield, and we get to gain some life. The Eldest Reborn and Binding the Old Gods are some good enchantments that are going to generate a lot of value. Grave Betrayal is a little expensive, but it's crazy good. Whenever a creature you don't control dies, return to the battlefield under your control with an additional +1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. So everything that we kill gets returned back to our side of the field, and even stronger. The card is expensive on the mana curve, but man, that thing is good. When Gonti enters the battlefield, we're going to look at the top 4 cards of our opponent's library. We're going to exile one of those cards, and we get to cast that card anytime we want. If our opponent is playing a lot of things with Hexproof and Indestructible, because our deck runs a lot of Death Touch and removal, we're not going to be able to target or destroy it. This makes it so those creatures lose those abilities, and we also get to draw a card. The Tribe Elder, the Prowler, and the Cultivator are going to help us ramp into some extra mana. Rampant Growth, Nature's Lore, and Cultivate are all sorcery spells that are going to help us get some more lands on the battlefield. Both Viridian Longbow and Pathway Arrows can be equipped to a creature, and if we equip it to a creature with Death Touch and we ping another creature, it's actually going to destroy the creature again because the Death Touch does proc. Definitely need these for the deck. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, if we have Boxing Ring on the field, we're going to be able to make it fight another target creature of the same mana value. We can also tap Boxing Ring to create additional treasure tokens. Lifecrafter's Bestiary is going to help us draw some cards in Scry to help find the things that we need. And Swiftfoot Boots is going to give a creature hexproof and haste. Arcane Signet and Command Sphere are some good mana rocks. Talisman of Resilience and Golgari Signet are also some good mana rocks for green and black. Moving on some lands, Grim Backwoods can be used to sacrifice a creature and draw some cards. When the Mire enters the battlefield, we're going to put target creature from a graveyard on top of our library. And the Hissing Quagmire can be turned into a black and green elemental creature with Death Touch. I like Temple of Malady for the Scry effect. Bojuka Bog's nice because we can exile target player's library. And Rogue's Patches is going to make a creature unblockable. Tranquil Thicket and Barrenmoor are cycle lands. And Ghost Quarter could be used to destroy a land. And we're running Command Tower, a 13 forests, and 11 swamps. This deck definitely plays a lot of removal and is kind of reliant on our opponent playing creatures as well because we need to interact with them to generate some value. These kind of decks are the types of decks that I love playing because it's so much fun. There are a lot of cards you can add to this that are more expensive that'll help make this deck even better, however I definitely left them out for this video. Let me know down below in the comment section about what cards I should have added. Also, if you like playing Magic the Gathering but don't want to spend too much money, on this channel we have a lot of deck techs that help you stay on a budget while having some fun. Anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, take care everybody.